The indomitable jungles, how Vietnam humbled the Mongol war machine. The Mongol Empire, history's largest contiguous land empire, seemed an unstoppable juggernaut. Khan after Khan swept across continents with military precision that redefined warfare. Cities from Baghdad to Beijing trembled at their approach, with entire civilizations crumbling beneath Mongol hooves. But could this seemingly invincible war machine be stopped? Yet in the dense, sweltering jungles of Vietnam, the world's most formidable army met its match, not once, but 3 times. This is a story of strategic brilliance, environmental mastery, and unwavering national resolve against overwhelming odds. Most history enthusiasts know about the Mongols' failed invasions of Japan, where the divine wind of typhoons decimated their fleets. Far fewer know the tale of their Vietnamese humiliation, a story that reveals how geography, guerrilla tactics, and sheer determination can defeat even the most fearsome military machine in history. This is a historical analysis of a strategic miscalculation that echoes through the ages. In 1257, Mongol Khan, grandson of Genghis Khan, controlled an empire spanning from Korea to Hungary. His armies had conquered the mighty Song dynasty of China and the feared assassins of Persia. Yet when his attention turned south to the kingdom of Dai Viet, northern Vietnam, something remarkable happened. This marked a critical turning point in Mongol expansion. The Mongols, masters of the open steppe, found themselves in a nightmare landscape where their greatest strengths became weaknesses. Their traditional tactics, honed on the vast plains of Central Asia, were rendered ineffective in the dense, unfamiliar terrain. What followed was not just a military defeat, but a humiliating lesson that would be repeated twice more before the Mongols finally accepted what Vietnamese defenders already knew. Some lands simply cannot be conquered, at least not by conventional means. This is a testament to the power of adaptation and the limitations of even the most dominant military force. When Urian Khadai, one of Mongol's most trusted generals, marched into Vietnam in 1257 with a force of approximately 30,000 warriors, victory seemed certain. The Vietnamese Emperor Tran Thai Tong had fewer soldiers, inferior weapons, and no battle experience against the Mongol war machine. The Mongols anticipated a swift and decisive victory. But Vietnam had something more valuable: intimate knowledge of its terrain. This strategic advantage proved to be the decisive factor in the ensuing conflict. As Mongol cavalry entered the dense jungles and rice paddies, their horses, the cornerstone of Mongol military superiority, became liabilities. The humid climate spoiled their bowstrings, neutralizing their legendary archery. Disease spread rapidly through the ranks unaccustomed to tropical pathogens. The environment itself became a weapon. Most devastating was the Vietnamese scorched earth policy. Emperor Tran evacuated Thang Long, modern-day Hanoi, removing all supplies and burning what couldn't be carried. When the Mongols arrived at the capital, they found empty streets and bare storehouses. This denial of resources crippled the Mongol war effort. Starving and suffering from tropical diseases, the Mongols initially took the city but couldn't hold it. Vietnamese forces under the brilliant general Tran Hung Dao employed hit-and-run tactics, disappearing into forests where Mongol cavalry couldn't follow. The invaders found themselves fighting shadows, attacked at night by enemies who vanished by morning. This early example of guerrilla warfare frustrated the Mongol advance. After just a few months, Urian Khadai was forced to retreat northward with less than half his original force. This marked a significant setback for the Mongol Empire and a testament to Vietnamese resilience. The first invasion served as a harsh lesson in the limitations of conventional warfare. Humiliated by this defeat, Kublai Khan, who succeeded his brother Mongke, became obsessed with conquering Vietnam. In 1284, he sent his son Togon with an army of 500,000 men, one of the largest invasion forces assembled in medieval history. This massive undertaking highlights the strategic importance Kublai Khan placed on controlling Vietnam. Once again, the Vietnamese abandoned their capital, implemented scorched earth tactics, and waited for the oppressive summer heat to wear down the invaders. The Mongols captured Thang Long but couldn't sustain their position as supplies dwindled and disease ravaged their ranks. The Vietnamese strategy of attrition proved highly effective. In the decisive Battle of Bac Dong River in 1288, Vietnamese forces lured the Mongol navy into a trap. Following a strategy used successfully against Chinese invaders centuries earlier, General Tran Hung Dao had his men drive iron-tipped wooden stakes into the riverbed, visible at low tide but hidden when the water rose. This ingenious tactic demonstrated a deep understanding of the local environment and naval warfare. As the tide changed, the Mongol fleet found itself impaled on these underwater spikes. Vietnamese fire ships were launched against the stranded vessels while archers rained arrows from the riverbanks. The defeat was so severe that Kublai Khan never again attempted to conquer Vietnam. This strategic victory secured Vietnamese independence and shattered the myth of Mongol invincibility. The Vietnamese victory wasn't just about terrain advantage. It represented a masterclass in asymmetric warfare centuries before the term existed. Their success was rooted in a combination of strategic planning, environmental awareness, and unwavering national unity. Unlike many other civilizations that faced the Mongols, the Vietnamese leadership made the painful choice to sacrifice territory temporarily rather than risk everything in open battle. They understood the Mongol need for forage and supplies, using the denial of these resources as a weapon more effective than any sword. This strategic decision proved crucial in weakening the Mongol forces. The Vietnamese also maintained remarkable social cohesion. From emperor to peasant, the population united in resistance. When Emperor Tran Han Tong asked whether to surrender or fight, the response was unanimous: fight. This unity allowed them to implement strategies that required immense sacrifice and coordination. The collective will of the Vietnamese people was a powerful force. The Mongol failures in Vietnam established a pattern that would repeat throughout history. Centuries later, other great powers, France and the United States, would learn similar harsh lessons about the challenges of warfare in Vietnam's unforgiving landscape against a determined population willing to endure incredible hardship. The echoes of the Mongol defeat resonate through subsequent conflicts. The Vietnamese victory over the Mongols represents one of history's most remarkable examples of a smaller power defeating a vastly superior military force through strategic genius, environmental advantage, and national determination. This historical event offers valuable insights for military strategists and historians alike. In our modern world of asymmetric conflicts and counterinsurgency challenges, the lessons of this forgotten campaign remain startlingly relevant. Military superiority alone never guarantees victory when facing determined defenders fighting on their own terms in familiar terrain. The Vietnamese experience underscores the importance of understanding the local context and adapting strategies accordingly. The jungles and people of Vietnam didn't just repel an invasion. They shattered the myth of Mongol invincibility, proving that even history's greatest empire had its limits. In doing so, they wrote one of history's most inspiring chapters of resistance that deserves far greater recognition in our collective understanding of the past. This historical event serves as a reminder that even the most powerful empires can be defeated by a determined and resourceful adversary. The story of Vietnam's triumph over the Mongol war machine is more than just a historical anecdote. It's a profound lesson in strategic thinking, adaptability, and the power of national unity. Delve deeper into this fascinating chapter of history. Research the key figures, the strategic decisions, and the environmental factors that contributed to this remarkable victory. Share this story with fellow history buffs and military strategists to spark discussions and further exploration. Let's ensure that the lessons of Vietnam's resilience and strategic brilliance are not forgotten, but continue to inform our understanding of conflict and resistance in the modern world.